What is going on, folks? 0 Hour, episode 10 in the house. It's fight week, and it is Nashville Underground 2 going down this Saturday, November the 20th from the Nashville Fairgrounds. So that means it is a full preview show this week. I am joined by my cohorts, Justin Watson, Jeff Hobbs, Torres Finney Jr., and joining us, special guest tonight, we got y'all better protect your damn necks because we got Nathan Lindsay in the house. Justin, we've got an interview with you on the channel separately, so make sure you go check that out. You're getting ready for your pro debut against a tough opponent in Pat Crumpton this weekend. How you feeling, my man?
Feeling great, man. Can't wait to get to Nashville and get weigh-ins over with and get something to eat.
No doubt. Jeff, 3 shows in 4 weeks for us. We're feeling every bit of our age.
Absolutely exhausted. I don't know what the hell we were thinking, man. But yeah, 3 shows in 4 weeks, 2 of them 6 days apart. Throw in the fact that both of us have gotten pretty damn sick, with just some regular, probably seasonal and winter funk that we're both trying to pull ourselves out of. And damn it, we got to do it again in 2 days. So yeah, it's a marathon at this point.
Torres, Finney, Champ, getting ready for that pro debut. But for now, we're talking underground. You're going to be on the call this weekend.
Yes, I'm really excited, man. Get the opportunity to go to Nashville once again. Get that opportunity.
Always a good time. So Nathan Lindsay also joins us. First time here on the show, so we welcome you. Nate Lindsay, professional flyweight out of the Nashville area himself, very knowledgeable on that scene. And so he will be a welcome addition to our panel here this evening. Nathan, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, yeah, we're looking forward to talking some Nashville area MMA with you. Before we get into it, though, I need everyone to smash that like button. Let's get those likes and the subscribes up there, because if you notice, we started posting fights from Aries 2 on the channel, and if you hit the subscription bell, damn it, you will get a notification every time we post another one. So do that for us, and that's the best thing you can do to help this channel grow. And spread our wings and fly. Let's get into it, guys. Of course, we have got Underground 2. Like I said, Nashville Fairgrounds. Tickets at fightertickswiththenext.com. Pay-per-view at combatcast.tv. And we're going to run through the card here and get some takes on these fights. Justin, as we do, I'm going to let you serve them up to me, and I'll loft them up for our panelists to give their insight.
All right, to get us started out, we got catchweights, 160-pound MMA. Cody Tunget, 0-3 out of Guardian MMA in Lebanon, Tennessee, taking on Jorge Lomas, 0-2 out of the UFC gym in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right, so starting off the show kind of like we did the first show. A couple guys with not the greatest records, but I think this is a pretty well matched fight. Jorge Lomas, we've seen a couple times in a row now. He's fought pretty tough competition, and he's fought up at 170 and higher. This fight will be down at 165. Which will be a little more suitable, I think, for his size. He did get a kickboxing win on Ben Rowland's Fighting for Autism event last weekend, so he is coming off of some momentum in kickboxing. Trains with UFC Jim Murfreesboro, kind of a brawler, a durable guy. He'll be taking on Cody Tunget out of the Lebanon area with Guardian, trained by Warren Grace in the gang. Cody's been in there with some pretty tough competition. Hasn't got his first win yet, but he's always game, man. Cody's always in those like scrappy, like crazy fights that go back and forth. He just hasn't come out on the right side yet. So somebody's has got to go here. Hobbs, your take on this on the curtain jerker?
Yeah, well, like you said, man, the last Underground card, same scenario. 2 guys with not the greatest record, upside down record, and they set the tone for the whole night, because it was a very evenly matched, well put together, well match made fight, and went all 3 rounds, and they put on a show for the people. It was a very competitive fight, and I think that actually set the tone for the whole rest of the night. So I'm expecting this to be the same way. Like you said, Cody Tunget, we've seen him a lot, especially Primal Combat, Valor shows, I think, in the past. I mean, we've seen him a lot. And like you said, got a great crowd, got a great fan base, good fan base that always shows up to see him fight. Just one of those unfortunate things that he he just doesn't end up on the right side of the, the win and loss column. But it's not for a lack of effort. It's not for a lack of skill. It's just happened like that, man. So it's going to be exciting to see both these guys. Finally, one of them is going to get a win and get the recognition and the glory from all their hard work that they haven't had yet. So, yes, there'll be a loser, but, I'm excited that both of them have the opportunity to guaranteed someone is getting their first win. And I think this really set the tone for the rest of the night.
Torres, your take on this one? Tunga, remember, he's cowboy. He's got that professional rodeo experience, and he's it'd be interesting to see if he can get that first win here this week. And also to note, he was Dustin Bailey's first opponent. Dustin Bailey has gone on to win the Aries championship, so it hasn't had an easy road.
Yeah, Cody Tunja has had to deal with a lot of tough fights, like you said from the beginning.
Oh, did we lose? Did we freeze up on Torres, Jeff?
Torres is signal dropped dramatically. Torres, damn it!
Are you back, Torres?
The new iPhone.
He's back.
I was literally talking the whole time. I do not. But so yes, from the beginning, Cody Tunja, man, I tell you, man, he's had to deal with a tough road. Jorge Lomas just fought 2 weeks ago. So you sit here and think about, how much better has he gotten since that last time? And Jorge Lomas has stepped in with some really tough opponents as well. So I think it's going to be a scrappy fight, but I do see this fight ending early between these two. It's going to be one of those back and forth. They're going to come out hard. You would think you would go with a guy who just been in the cage not too long ago out of Jorge. But then again, Cody Tunja probably don't have a full camp getting ready for this fight. So I probably lean more to Tunja than this one. But I think it's going to be one of those fights, like Jeff said, set the tone for the night.
Nathan, you got a take on this one? I wasn't sure if you knew these guys.
I don't know either one of these guys personally, but I'm going to go with all local guys for my predictions.
Right on.
Go. Set the tone, Nate.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know who you said, the guy that just fought 2 weeks ago. I'm going to pick him.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee, repping.
Oh, there you go.
All right, what we got next, Justin?
Next up, featherweight's 145-pound tie fight. Matt McAfee debut out of Juggernaut and Triple Crown MMA in Florence, Kentucky, taking on Phil Hedgewood, 1-0 out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
We got our next three fights are going to be tie fights. This is an interesting one with the Juggernaut boxing guys out of Florence. Always bring very good striking. Jeff Johnson and the crew. They just had Dylan Bowell down in Knoxville and was in a hell of a fight with Eli Wilson. They're always going to be game. I don't know a whole lot about McAfee with this being his first fight, but they're very high on him. Of course, Phil Hedgewood we have seen out of Nashville MMA. He was victorious his first time out, so he's looking to extend that. Of course, training with Dorian Price and those guys, always ready and technical. Two very good strikers going at it. Torres, I'll let you start us off on this one.
This is going to be a really interesting fight between these two guys. Like you said, when you got hello, y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So when you got two big time striking guys like this, like you said, two big time striking guys like this, especially early on, you got one as a debut and another, just coming into this fight. I think it's going to be a really exciting fight. Nerves are going to obviously be there early on, but it's really hard. Like you said, it's really hard to call these fights early on with these debuts. So you never know. But I think this should be one of those fun fights.
Nathan, you had any cross training with Phil Hedgewood?
I know Phil a little bit. Phil, he's going to train with Travell a lot, so he's going to definitely have a seasoned guy to train with regularly. That's his weight class to learn and grow from. So I think Phil will do pretty well. You said the other guy's coming from a gym with, good striking as well. So it should be a good matchup.
Hobbs, what's your take here? We've seen Phil Hedgewood. We have not seen McAfee yet, but we know his teammates always come ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming from a place called Juggernaut Boxing, the focus is on the stand-up and the striking. So, but like Nate said, man, knowing where Phil's focus is, training with Travell Boone, His striking is probably, just as important at Nashville MMA, working with Travell. Different style a little bit between traditional boxing and Thai. I'm just happy that Phil is getting to be on the card. Phil really wanted to be on the Underground 1. It just didn't work out, trying to find the right opponent, or hell, not right opponent, just finding an opponent at that time, and had to sit back and watch his teammates compete on the card. And so I'm excited that he's getting to experience the second time around. But I expect that this is going to be a pretty damn technical fight.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Hedgewood debuted on a Primal Combat then, didn't he?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. All right, Justin, serve me up.
Next up, we have catchweight 120-pound tie fight. Luis Alonso, a debut out of the stables in Clarksville, Tennessee, taking on Carlos Rivera, debut out of Fight Force Fitness in Nashville, Tennessee.
So this is probably the fight I have the least info for you guys on, but hopefully we can get some insight maybe from Nathan. These guys are debuts, so there's only so much we're gonna be able to say. But they're 120 pounds. I'm expecting a lot of speed, a lot of energy, a lot of movement, a high pace here. Nathan, I'll let you lead us off here. You know anything about these guys? I'm sure you at least know about their gyms. DJ Miller, the trainer for Rivera out of Fight Force Fitness, and then it's Angel Natal is the trainer for his opponent out of the stables in Clarksville.
Okay. So yeah, DJ Miller, he's got really, really good Muay Thai out of Fight Force Fitness. So his guy's probably going to be real smooth and technical, throwing lots of combos and have a real traditional Muay Thai style. The other guy you said trains with Angel, so he'll probably have a more boxing heavy style. Not that he won't throw kicks and stuff, but he'll probably be more boxing heavy. So it should be a high paced match, but we're going to go with the local guy, Nashville.
All right, Jeff Hobbs. Like I said, not a lot to go on here, but like I said, 120 pounds. I'm expecting a pace at the very least.
Yeah, these guys are almost as small as Nate Lindsay, man. So maybe some possible future opponents here for young Nate, man. But like I said, not a lot of research we can do. So all we have to really go off of is knowledge of gym coaches and training partners and things like that. So like you guys have already touched on, probably going to be, another semi, pretty technical bout. We know that DJ is all about crisp technique. So probably maybe a little more calculated stand up from that side of it. And like Nate was saying, a little more just kind of boxing style from the other side. So it'll be a cool little chess match to watch, between the two.
Torres, this is going to be one that I probably don't envy your position in the commentary booth, because a fight like this is probably going to be hard to keep up with.
Yes, like you said, you got two flyweights. It's going to be a high-paced fight most of the time. Let's be honest. The flyweights have the better cardio, so they're going to be able to go. So it should be exciting. It should be a lot of fireworks. But like you say, when you got these debuts, you never know what you're necessarily going to get. So from that standpoint, I trust Nate. Like you said, the pedigree of some of these gyms, man, that's the best thing you can go off of. And I think it's going to be a really good fight.
One prelim left to go, Justin.
All right, next up we have 145-pound Muay Thai fight, featherweights, Cody Hamilton, a debut out of Juggernaut Boxing and Triple Crown MMA in Florence, Kentucky, taking on Joey Torres, a debut out of Team Henzo Gracie, Nashville.
So another fight where Juggernaut Boxing puts a debut out there. Same kind of thing with McAfee. We just don't know much. We know that his team, for the most part, has always shown well. So I expect no different from Cody Hamilton. Joey Torres, guy we do know. Joey Torres, more known as a BJJ practitioner, MMA guy. So this is his first Muay Thai fight. And so it'd be interesting to see, he's not able to rely on his grappling skills here. What his striking is like when that's the only tool that he can rely on. So I'm certainly very interested in that. Not very often that you're going to hear a Muay Thai fighter representing Team Henzo Gracie. Jeff.
Yeah, that was an odd thing to type up on a few things when the poster release. It was like our final Muay Thai fight, and putting Team Henzo Gracie. Very, very odd to write it out, but it's what makes this a very intriguing fight, very interesting fight, is taking a BJJ player out of his wheelhouse, out of his comfort zone. And what really makes this kind of just a head scratcher on the intrigue part of it is how adamant Joey Torres was that he wanted to tie box somebody, anybody. He wasn't trying to get an MMA fight and we talked him into a tie fight. He wanted a stand-up fight with somebody on this card. So it's very, very intriguing and, very interesting to see how this plays out.
Torres, you familiar with Joey Torres?
No, I'm not. But I will say, when you get a guy like him, like Joey Torres, a jiu-jitsu guy that is looking into the avenues of just only striking, especially for a fight like this, you can tell he is going to make his eventual jump to MMA, and I think he's only doing this. He's probably been in a bunch of jiu-jitsu tournaments, probably done a bunch of different grappling things. So for him to get that experience, he would like to probably do that in Muay Thai, and no better way to.
We'll go on to Nathan, Lindsay here. Now, Nathan, you have surely trained with Joey Torres. Any take on this matchup here? Can Joey strike as well as he can grapple?
Well, Joey's been grappling longer, so we used to train together a little bit. And Joey's had 2 MMA fights, so he's probably going to look to come forward, bring the pressure, and get in this guy's face. I would think he's probably just going to look to put it on him. But I haven't trained with him recently, so I don't know what he's been doing. But I would imagine he's been working on his stand-up and local guy, Nashville.
Justin, what we got next?
Next up, welterweights, 170-pound MMA. Lucas Cox making his debut from Magogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, taking on JT Van Meter, debut out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
So now we kind of get back into the MMA, I guess for the rest of this card. This is a good one here. We have 2 debuts. We continue the Agogi versus Nashville MMA narrative, which is also fun. And I'm going to lean on Torres for a lot of this one. Lucas Cox was supposed to debut back in Chattanooga at Aries 1. His opponent, Skylar Cobb, flaked on us last minute. He ended up not getting to fight. He really, really wanted to fight. And so, a couple weeks later, the opportunity presented itself to make that debut in Smashville. And now he'll take on Nashville MMA's JT Van Meter, who is also a debut. Looks like he does have some kickboxing experience already, from what I can gather. Lucas Cox, of course, a former military, all around tough guy. Torres, I'll let you divulge a little further your take on this one.
Yes, this is going to be a really tough.
Do we lose Torres again?
Yeah, Torres' signal on
he's
his
back.
end.
He's back.
Do y'all hear me? What is going on?
Now we do.
His show is good on my side. I don't know what's but Lucas Cox, man, from the beginning. I mean, he's really tough. Like you said, a military guy. He'll come hard. The man looked like he had a few boxing experience. He's tough. He's been doing really well on the jiu-jitsu side. Has some really decent wrestling. We had a UTC wrestler come to the gym one time, and he was one of those guys to be able to take that guy down. Besides me, so Lucas got a little wrestling in him. So it should be a really interesting fight. I'm excited, and also Nashville MMA, they're known for bringing out guys that are ready. So I'm down to believe that JT is going to be ready for this fight. So this will be no easy cakewalk. So I'm excited for this fight on both sides.
Nathan.
Yeah, I don't really know the JT Van Meter guy from Nashville, but it should be a good scrap. Got to go with the Nashville guy, though. Agogi's a good gym, so it should be a good scrap between 2 debuts.
Jeff Hobbs, round us out.
This one's interesting, man. This one's intriguing. Just because, again, it's weird that we've got 2 debut guys, but it seems like both of these camps are really, really high on these 2 guys, man. I've heard more about JT Van Meter from Nashville MMA than any of my conversations about anybody else on this card. It's been all about JT. And so, Lucas is a very put together young man. Agogi is so high on him, and it was really important for them to get him a fight on this card. And the same exact mirror thing is going on at Nashville MMA about Van Meter, was that this guy is one of the hardest workers in the gym. When we didn't have an opponent for him, I had C4 Alexander calling me saying, dude, have y'all got this JT kid a fight? Because he is like working his ass off for this card. Hard, and so I'm getting these votes of confidence from everybody else at the gym for him. So that makes this thing just so intriguing. I can't wait to see what both these guys look like, in the competition. I will say I met JT the other day, and I'm a big fan of that 70s show. He looks just like Eric from that 70s show. Very unassuming when he came in to sign in, check in that he was at the gym. And the guy at the desk was like, well, that's JT. I was like, what? That's, so man, I can't wait for this one. I think this is where the shit really gets good. Everything we've had up to this point is going to be fun. I think this is where the shit really gets like good and some depth, to the fights.
All right, next up we have lightweights, 155 pounds MMA. Ben Sharp, 2-1 out of Phoenix MMA and Fitness in Hermitage, Tennessee, taking on Cody Stewart, 1-2 out of the UFC gym in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay, so these guys really wanted to fight each other, it seemed like, randomly. I don't think that there's any backstory there beyond that. There could be, but they were both very eager to fight each other, it seemed like. So, Cody Stewart, 1-2 out of that UFC gym, Murfreesboro, coming off a loss at the last Underground, questionable kind of experience there. He fought Justin Jamar, who had missed weight, but no excuses there at the end of the day. Jamar came out and performed. Left Cody with a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth, though, so I know he's looking to rebound here in a big way against Ben Sharp. Ben Sharp is one of the tallest 155s that you're ever going to see. Really, he's very, very tall, man. 2-1 out of Corey Robeson's Phoenix MMA and Fitness and Hermitage. Fairly well-rounded fellow. This will be interesting here, I think. Sharp has got some very interesting dimensions that make him very tough to prepare for, I think. Let's start off with Nate on this one.
I know Ben Sharp. We've trained together in the past. Ben, like you said, he is super tall for 155. And he's trained with Ryan De Lorenzo, local Nashville legend, really good pro fighter back in his day. So Ben's got a really good stand-up. And if he's training with Corey, Corey's a good grappler. So if Ben can get his grappling like his stand-up, he should be fine. I don't know too much about Cody Stewart, but he's going to want to get in there and get the fight to the ground, not try and stand with, I think Ben's like 6'3" or 6'4". He's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's like a Luis Pena type dimensions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think Ben Sharp probably gets it done in the first.
Jeff Hobbs.
Yeah, bold prediction there, Nathan.
Yeah, no doubt.
Ben's one of just those kind of sneaky, quiet guys, man. He doesn't do social media, so you really don't see a very private kind of guy, very quiet guy, but got some sneaky skill when you see him compete. So I'm like you, though. I'm just more interested in what is it about this fight, because these two have been trying to get together for a minute, and it just makes you wonder, like, hell, is there some backstory y'all ain't letting us in on? Because they both, for some reason, just keep mentioning the other one as possible opponents every time we've talked to them about fighting on a card. So I don't know, man. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's some deeper story that maybe we'll hear about, or maybe there's just something about each other that they just really see an opportunity to shine and showcase their skill, and they think that the weaknesses of the other one will really showcase their strengths. So I'd be interested to see how this one plays out. But like you said, Cody Stewart definitely didn't like how the last underground ended for him, and I'm sure he's, more than anything, wanting to redeem himself in front of his crowd.
Torres, wrap us up on this one.
Yes, I agree with Jeff on that. The fact that these two guys.
Torres's phone just doesn't want him to talk. That's what it is.
Only when he goes.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm talking, and then. But look, I'm gonna be as quick as possible. So yes, I think this fight is gonna be between two guys that potentially see a weakness in the other, and I just think it's just gonna be a really good fight for both of these guys, especially like Cody Stewart coming off that loss, and Ben Sharp, like you say, he's a good striker. So I'm excited to see what he does to come in that cage as well.
All right, next up we got heavyweights. 265 pounds. Chris Baker, debut out of Tap Out Fitness in Atlanta, Georgia, taking on Finn Martin, a debut out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
So I don't know a whole lot about Mr. Chris Barker. He's with a team, Tap Out Fitness down in Atlanta. Justin Granville, who used to fight with Striker Fight Center, I know. He's fought for us in the past. He's training him. Looks to be well put together. Big, strong dude. First fight, so who knows what we're going to get out of him. Finn Martin, also debut out of Nashville MMA, but already with a good amount of I guess you'd say grappling experience leading up to this. Already a purple belt in BJJ, highly touted wrestler as well out of Virginia. And so this is one that it's intriguing because it's heavyweights. There's the train of thought that Finn has a lot more, grappling experience and whatnot. But at the end of the day, these are big heavyweights, and heavyweight, it only takes one punch to kind of change the whole landscape of things, if you will. So I'm interested to see how this one goes. We will start off with we'll go with Jeff first here.
Yeah, interesting fight here. Usually we say we don't know a lot, 2 debuts, not a lot to go off of. It seems like here lately, I keep hearing a lot about Finn just being a mean son of a bitch. Like he's somebody we need to watch out for. Now I know Finn traditionally will probably be a 205er. This is a heavyweight fight for him where I think he's had to actually kind of try to put on weight, but whatever, I can't remember what it is he does for a living. I think he may be a police officer or SWAT or something like that. He
Some
wasn't in the
shit.
Yeah, some real manly shit, that I don't do for a living. But he was out in the field or something when his coaches actually put this fight together for him because they knew that he wanted to fight. He had lost a lot of weight, so now he's trying to put weight back on while he was out in the field for a couple of weeks. So I think they said he will be a 205er, which makes this really intriguing because if things pan out Finn Martin's way and he sticks around and wants to do this fighting thing longer, there's a lot of intriguing fights. I think Barker is going to be a traditional heavyweight. He's going to be the heavier guy, and that's where he'll stay. But I'm interested to see what Finn brings to the table because if he really will be a 205er and he's as mean as they say he is at Nashville MMA, there could be some really good, intriguing 205 fights that we could put together for him in the future as well. So everybody loves heavyweights. Everybody loves when the announcer says the next bout is in the heavyweight division. Everybody's ears perk up and everybody sits up a little taller in their seat. So I think stylistically and visually, this is going to get the Nashville crowd excited to watch these two big boys that are put together really well. Nobody's sloppy when it comes to this one. And I think they'll be excited when these two guys walk to the cage.
Torres, our resident big man specialist.
Yes.
Make it quick.
Yes, I got to make it quick. But yes, we got a heavyweight named Finn. Come on, man. How can you not go with him? So, yes, I'm excited to see this. I mean, Barker versus Finn, a heavyweight fight. Like you say, man, 2 heavyweights going at it, especially in the amateur. Dude, the longest I've been commentating and been watching, I haven't really seen many heavyweight fights go to the second round. So,
Nathan, you know Finn Martin out that way?
I don't know him, but like you guys said, heavyweights, big guys, it could end quick. But if he's a purple belt and he's training under Brian Tidwell, BT is super, super talented jiu-jitsu guy. I trained with him for many, many years. So if he's got a wrestling pedigree and he gets it down, he'll probably get the job done. But it's a heavyweight fight, so it could end quick.
All right, next up, 160-pound catchweight Dustin Berry, 1-0 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, taking on Spencer Brandon, 2-1 out of Legions MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
Fun little fight here. One of my sleeper picks for the undercard. Dustin Berry, we just saw at Aries 2 short weeks ago. We said Jorge Lomas just fought 2 weeks ago. Well, he fought Dustin Berry 2 weeks ago. So Dustin Berry comes on the short turnaround here, representing Agogi Combatives. Looked great out there first go around. Now he steps it up a little bit, taking on Spencer Brandon, who actually has a bit more experience than him. 2-1 representing Legion. Legion Jiu-Jitsu there in Nashville. Spencer's always he's predominantly fought on Primal Combat shows, but he's a guy that just always impressed me. All of his fights are very exciting. He's shown knockout ability. He's also shown submission ability. He got a submission. I want to say he got a submission over Dustin Whitmore, and then he also got a win over a KMA guy at the Joe a year or so ago. So Spencer, he's a tough guy. And I always liken him to like a younger Brandon McGee. That to me is a very, very similar style. So him and Dustin Berry, I'm expecting to be a really fun one. Torres, I'll let you lead.
Yes, man. Yes. Look, the moment Dustin Berry fight ended, 2 weeks ago, he literally walked back in the gym. Where's the next fight card? He was ready to go. This man, he gets mad at me because I always say the wrong high school. He's from Luella. He wrestled at Luella. You got it, Dustin. I got it right this time.
We're gonna go to Nate Lindsay now.
Yeah, we'll go on the date. Torres, you back?
I'm back. I don't know.
We heard Luella High School.
Well, he's from Luella High School. Dustin Berry, he's a really good wrestler. I'm excited to see him go against a guy like Spencer Brandon, who got some experience. But Dustin, man, he's been working a lot on his striking, and obviously he has his wrestling there. It's going to be a really good, fun fight.
Nate.
It should be a good fight. He said he just fought 2 weeks ago. So if staying active like that, I like that. But got to go with the local guy out of Legion, Nashville.
Got to.
Jeff Hobbs, round us out here. Our second Chattanooga Nashville battle here.
Nate really reminds me a lot of myself. What about 2 years ago, Tim, on pick?
It's just like auto fade if you're from Kentucky.
Yeah, it's like you automatically don't get picked if you're Kentucky and independent, and if you're from Nashville, that's who I'm picking. I don't even need it. Yeah, well, and they got to understand. It's like, shit, Nate, you live here. It's like I got to see these guys every damn day, so I can't pick.
No bias at all.
Yeah, not absolutely. Which, trust me, hell, Nate, you're a Chattanooga guy too. I was about to say my Chattanooga guys.
Yeah. Rossville.
Yeah, Rossville.
Yeah, I know Logan Neal. We used to train together a long time ago back in the day.
All right.
Well, they do it to me too. Torres and Greg. I mean, they'll pick anybody from Chattanooga. I pick everybody from Nashville. So it's a never ending thing here. But this is a really cool fight, man. That really just got put together last minute. This is literally the last fight that was put together on this card just a couple of days ago. Hadn't even got the poster out, yet for it. But it's a good one. That Whitmore fight that was a good ass fight at Primal Combat. You remember they kept dropping each other. We kept thinking the ref was going to stop it. Then you'd get a turnaround again and a complete 180. That was an emotional roller coaster on that bout. And it was a fun fight. Yes, McGee is a good comparison. I actually think they look alike a little bit too, because I get them kind of confused. But this is going to be fun, man. Spencer Brandon always puts on a show. Dustin Berry looks skilled beyond his record. So I think, again, kind of a sneaky fight that's going to sneak up on people. When it's over, they're going to go, shit, that was entertaining. That was good. That's the reason why it's a little further down the card.
All right, next up, we have bantamweights, 135 pounds. Michael Robinson, a debut out of Team Black Dragon in Charleston, Tennessee, taking on Q2, 2-1 out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, so Q2's a guy that we're always excited to see, man. He's a character. He's always an entertaining guy in the cage, man. You're not going to see this guy in a boring fight. Looking to rebound here, coming off a loss at Underground 1 to Josh Delgadillo, who we have an interview with where on the page. Make sure you check that out. We'll talk about him in just a moment. But Q2, of course, 2-1 coming into this one. He's a short, compact, explosive guy, very athletic, very unorthodox striking, and powerful grappling. He's going to be taking on a guy that's built very similar to him. I think this is going to be one of the few times that Q may actually have a height advantage over the 5-foot-tall Michael Robinson making his debut, who looks very well put together. We don't know what to expect. It's his debut. Looks like he has a Taekwondo background. Young buck, 18 years old there from Charleston, Tennessee, training with Team Black Dragon. Just not very familiar with him, but it does look like he is in shape, and these guys are going to be very similar looking physically, I believe, in there. And this fight is another one that could be low key awesome. Nathan, start us off.
So I've trained with Kutu. Kutu is like you said, he's a really good athlete, and he likes to strike. He's aggressive with his hands, and he has a wrestling base. So no biased opinion here, but I'm calling it Kutu is going to win in the first round.
All right, Jeff Hobbs. This is going to be a fun one, man. Even though Robinson's a debut, physically he looks like these guys are going to be, very, very quite, similar.
Yeah, and what goes a long way too. We've seen it not pan out in debuts in the past, but I feel differently about them. What stands out too is Robinson's eagerness and confidence. So you add that with the athleticism and how bad he wanted to fight on this card, the communication that we've had since he got put on this card, the emails I'm getting, how many people they're bringing up. He's very confident. And so that kind of add that with the athleticism. This could be a very interesting fight. I guarantee you will see spinny shit in this fight. That is a guarantee. Somebody is spinning something in this fight, and more than once. And I will see your spin and raise you 2 spinnies will probably happen in this fight as well. But, like I said, don't know a lot about Robinson other than he looks like a definite athlete. We know the athleticism of Kutu. First Underground, low ceilings. This dude is jumping up and almost slapping the lights, from the cage. Super compact, probably kind of built oddly to where everything from the waist down is actually probably thicker, bigger than what's from the waist up. His hips, his thighs are just so tree trunkish. There's just so much power in his kicks. It's going to take a lot to take that dude's legs out from him. So you're either going to have to submit him like Delgadillo did, or you're going to have to find some way to get in all that unorthodox, crazy, spinny shit. So this one's going to be fun. This one could get rowdy with the crowd that Robinson said he's bringing from his neck of Tennessee. And Kutu always the ties come out for Kutu, man. They love that kid, and he brings a hell of a crowd. So the crowd could get raucous on this one.
Torres, round us off.
Yes, man. Look, I'm excited for this fight. Q2 got some nasty leg kicks. I mean, the last few fights I've called, that man has some tree trunks of a leg, and if he lands those legs on Robinson. Now, y'all did just describe that Robinson does have a good build himself. So I'm excited to see how this fight pans out. But, man, it's hard to go against a guy like Q2, especially after seeing his previous fight. Yes, he did get caught in that triangle last fight, but, that's the reason why this big man, the guy he fought against, is in the title fight. So this is going to be a really good fight. I'm excited. These going to be two small guys that are really swole, have some similarities to it. So I like it.
All right, next up, catchweight 130-pound MMA. Bryce Woner, 0-0 out of Team Wildside in Clarksville, Tennessee, taking on Jamie Lloyd, 1-0 out of Fight Force and Outlook MMA in Cheatham County, Tennessee.
Okay, so this one literally came together this morning or maybe last night, I guess, technically. Originally supposed to be Jamie Lloyd taking on Austin Swink. Austin Swink bailed on us yesterday, and the scramble commenced. We were able to secure Mr. Woner, who was supposed to fight for Mike Merriman's show up in Kentucky last weekend, and his fight fell out. So it was kind of the perfect storm where these guys were able to merge together. Thank goodness, because Jamie Lloyd is a popular motherfucker.
Apparently, I ain't trying to put my man's business out there, but I will. It's bad enough getting a phone call saying someone's dropping out of a fight. It's even worse when they call and drop out of a fight on a Monday of fight week. But it goes into a whole nother stratosphere of bad when they drop out of a fight on fight week and the opponent has sold like $8,000 worth of tickets. Jamie Lloyd at 1-0 from Cheatham County, Tennessee. I open Fighter Ticks one day and I see something must be wrong. We just sold $5,000 worth of tickets in one day, and I look, and it's because he's sold 9 VIP tables.
Good
in one day. And I think last time I checked, if I look, and I will look because it's up. Again, Jamie Lloyd, not trying to put your business out here, bro, but I'm proud of you. Over 60 GAs. I mean, you can imagine Tim and myself yesterday were in heart attack mode that we didn't have an opponent for this young man. So excited to see whatever the hell it is Jamie Lloyd's bringing to the table, but people like him in Cheatham County, Tennessee. And I am happy that we found him and he is on this card because, again, guys, if you're wanting to start in MMA and you're starting in your amateur career, Torres will tell you, Justin, Nate, you want to get your name out there and you want to get promoters interested, have that kind of fan base and have that kind of support. And you will never have a lack of fights out there. Now, that being said, man, I cannot thank Bryce, enough for stepping in. Went and met the guy tonight for the first time, went and drove out to his gym, met him in person, just to make sure I didn't have to pinch myself that we really did find a replacement. Kid was very humble, very nice, very appreciative of the opportunity. Same situation. He had a fight last week. Opponent dropped out, was very upset. Or not upset, but disappointed that he had been training for his debut and it didn't happen. So this worked out good for him as well. I'm glad we were able to save this fight. And if anybody is wondering, that's why I'm putting out, this business on why is a 1-0 versus an 0-0 in the main side of this card. Well, that's where you go when you sell that many damn tickets.
Torres, not a whole lot to go off on these guys, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword sometime. You get a big following like that there behind you. It's going to pump you up, and maybe there's a little pressure too to deliver.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I think Jamie Lloyd coming into this fight. Hey, you sell that many tickets, man. A lot of those guys aren't coming to see you lose. So this is gonna be awesome. I'm willing to bet Swink's coming in there, right? Hey, he trying to
no Swink.
Yeah,
no
Swink ain't going nowhere, man. He pulled, but it's a new opponent. Bryce Woner.
Bryce Loner. That's it. Well, Bryce, I know he's trying to come in there and spoil the party. So imagine hearing $8,000 worth of tickets solid. Whew, that would be something else. But look, I'm excited for this fight, man. The energy is gonna be nuts in there. So I'm excited to come and be there and watch that.
Nathan, are you familiar with Jamie Lloyd? It looks like he trains there with DJ some at Fitness. And Jeff, he had 2 gym affiliates.
Well, he was originally, and we may need to talk to Jamie. We have Outlook on there, and I think when he was looking for a gym, I think he had talked to Lance about coming to Outlook. I don't know if that ever happened or came to fruition. So we definitely want to clear that up because I don't want to misrepresent anybody or anybody's gym. So I'll clear that up and just make sure we're representing the right thing. But I do know that he has been, he does a lot of his work in his hometown with other guys in the garage on the bags and things like that. But he has been going to DJ. I've seen the documentation and the videos and pictures at night. So after work, he's been heading to Fight Force Fitness with DJ and getting it work. So that is the only one I can confirm.
Nathan.
Yeah, I know Jamie a little bit. I saw his first fight. He debuted the same night. My man Seth Britton debuted. They both got wins, and he had a huge crowd with him there. All the creek, as Jamie would say, was there with him. He does train at DJ's gym, so he's gonna be striking, looking to throw, classic traditional Muay Thai and clean striking, and gotta go with the Nashville guy. Picking Jamie Lloyd. The other guy you said trains with Mike Meerman. They got a good team up there at the Wild Side guys, so should be a good fight.
All right, next up is the amateur main event for the bantamweight title, 135 pounds, as Josh Delgadillo, 4-3 out of Team Chaos in Columbus, Ohio, takes on Emilio Hernandez, 2-0 out of Tennessee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Spring Hill, Tennessee.
Amateur main event. You've got interviews up with both Emilio and Josh on the channel. Please be sure to check those out before this fight because, both these guys are a pleasure to talk to. First off, they're great interviews and they're very, very talented fighters, man. This is going to be a really good fight. This is honestly about a pro level fight, at least an entry level pro level fight, I think. Josh Delgadillo coming off two big wins. Talking about talking about the win over Cody Noel last time. That was a guy that all of us were very, very high on. Great fight. Submits Q2 before that. So he's got two high quality wins in a row coming in here. He's earned this shot at Emilio and the first ever underground strap. Emilio, obviously, BJJ black belt, very talented. He can strike too. And it honestly this may be the fight that I'm maybe the most excited for. Honestly, I really think that this one will come down to the wrestling exchanges. I think who's ever able, if one of the guys is able to get the best of the striking and the other guy's not able to, and he's not able to take him down, or he can. That to me is where this fight will be decided. Very, very hard fight to call, and I'm excited for both of these guys because they're both really good dudes. Let's start off with Torres.
Yes, man, this fight right here, man, it got me pumped. Josh, I mean, if you looked at his last fight against Cody Noel, I mean, his striking looked really crisp. And the last two times I've, had to do picks with Josh, been on the card, I mean, I picked Q2 against him, and I also picked Cody Noel against him. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I mean, you would think a guy like Emilio, with the BJJ black belt, with the background, with the pedigree, would be enough. But that man, Josh, man, he got that dog in him, man. It's different, man. But so does Emilio. I mean, his fight against Carrington Johnson, it showed he'll stand on the feet with you and strike with you, man. So I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be exciting on the feet and the exchanges, like you said, Tim, on the ground. Man, it's going to be a really interesting fight, man. Hard to pick this one. This is really hard to pick him. It's really hard. But I picked against Josh twice. So I might lean. It's hard. I mean, I want to pick Emilio, but man, every time I pick against Josh, man, he'll prove me wrong. So
Emilio wants you to pick Emilio too, because if your history serves, that'll work out in his favor.
That could be. That's true. So I'm gonna lean with Emilio in this one, because of the BJJ pedigree. But man, look, if he could get to the deeper waters, you never know, man. Josh could be still there. So I'm excited.
Nate.
I know Emilio. We competed back in the day as purple belts. He's a really good grappler. I don't know too much about Josh. I did see his fight against Kutu. He looks scrappy, but if it gets to the grappling exchanges, it's gonna be like quicksand with Emilio. So if they grapple, Emilio will win for sure. I don't know too much about Alex's stand up, but that's where the other guy has the best chance to win. If he goes to the ground, it's over.
Jeff.
Yeah, Nate, I think you'd definitely be surprised with Emilio's, with Alex's stand-up. It is further along than what I think anybody expected. What was interesting to me, though, is as you look at that Carrington fight, Emilio was able to get a few takedowns in the first round, but what was surprising was he wasn't able to keep him down. any in the first round at all. So that was very surprising. And that may be something Josh looks at, but it's the drive that Emilio's got that he just knows. If I just keep this going, I keep making him have to get up. After that first round was over, which we all saw, Emilio straight across the boards had lost the first round on everyone's scorecards. But he knew that the pressure would continue. And the very first takedown he got in the second round, he was finally able to, finish the fight. So, I'm like Torres. I can't pick this fight. I don't want to pick this fight. I shouldn't pick this fight. And I'm not going to pick this fight. But God dang, man. There's a reason why this was the first fight that we put together on this card, the first fight we announced on this card, because this is the first fight we wanted when we, had talked about putting this card together. And I'm so glad it has stayed. It's been tough keeping it on the card because Emilio competes every freaking weekend somewhere. And so keeping him healthy has been a nail biter every week. I'm just glad we have reached fight week, reached almost weigh-ins, and it's going to be here. Man, I think if Josh wins this fight, it's because it was a quick fight and an early finish. I think the deeper it goes, the more it favors Emilio, and we just got to see whose will prevail in this fight. Can't wait to watch Taylor Hood and Tim give one of these gentlemen that pretty royal purple belt, because they will have deserved it. They have earned it. They've deserved it. Nothing was given in this one.
All right, next up we have a professional catchweight 150 MMA Jose Arriaga making his debut out of the stables and Tullahoma Thai Boxing in Shelbyville, Tennessee, taking on Seth Sergo, 1-1 out of Legion MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, first of 4 pro fights. This one kind of came together late, honestly. It was Jose Arriaga, managed by Angel Natal, reached out about 3 weeks ago looking to make a pro debut. We had an open pro slot on this card. Originally, we were kind of trying to make a fight with him and Andrew Havener happen after Havener's fight fell off the Chattanooga fight card late, but Havener wasn't able to do that date. So Seth Sergo answered the call out of Legion MMA. He's fought for me once before on a Nashville show prior. He's 1-1, got good wrestling. He's a good sized 145er, tall, strapping, athletic fellow, good motor, good wrestler. Like I said, 1-1. Jose Arriaga, pro debut, Primal Combat 155 champion. He is actually Spencer Brandon's one loss. It was actually a really good fight. But Jose Arriaga won that first ever main event for Primal Combat, won that 155 title, now makes his pro debut after it looks like they list him as 9-8 as an amateur. Not a lot of fights for me, a lot of fights on other circuits here, so I'm not as familiar, but I have seen him fight that one time. He's definitely a warrior. He's kind of that Latino warrior spirit, man. He comes forward and he goes for it. This should be a fun fight. I don't really have a whole lot more insight than that. On the surface, it appears to be a striker versus wrestler type affair, though. And let's start off with Nate.
Man, I know Seth some. We trained together a little bit in the past. He's a good athlete, and he's got a good wrestling background. I don't know too much about the other guy, but like you said, if he's a gamer, it should be a good fight if he can stop the takedown and keep it on the feet. But got to go with the Nashville guy.
Jeff Hobbs.
Yeah, I only know Sergo from, like you said, the last time you had matched a card that he was on. I feel like Seth Sergo's been around for a long time, so I was surprised when his name popped up again that he only had 2 fights. Because I just felt like he'd been around for a long time and was probably busy somewhere else. So I was really surprised that he didn't have more fights at this point, revisiting them. But, man, it's pretty cool. If you look at our professional fights on here, it's usually, 1 local versus 1 out-of-towner. You don't have a lot of opportunities anymore where 2 locals are fighting each other, on the pro side of a card. So to have these guys fairly close to each other, Clarksville and Nashville is only 30 minutes away. it was really cool to have a local against a local on the card. Angel is really high on Arriaga and was really adamant that we needed them and it was time. I think both of these guys bring a different fan base, to the Nashville area and to our show that maybe we wouldn't have been able to tap into without them on the card. So I think it's a great addition to the card, a great late addition to the card, and a great way to kick off the pro portion of this.
Torres.
Yeah, I like this fight, man. Like you said, Jose Arriaga. He currently has, he had 17 amateur fights, man. That's a lot of fights. So he is surely no guy coming in this cage, inexperienced in this case. Yes, this will be his first pro fight, but with that many fights, I'm sure he has seen almost all of it. Many different scenarios in that cage. So, this will be interesting. I don't know too much about the Nashville guy myself currently, but I think this fight, as time go on, you got a wrestler versus grappler, and the main thing about this fight, can the striker versus grappler, can the striker keep this fight on the feet? And that's the main thing for Jose in this fight. So, should be a good one.
All right, next up we have the people's main event, lightweight 155. Justin Watson, pro debut out of Hobbs, Jackson, Lincoln, Concord, North Carolina, taking on Pat Crumpton, 2-1, Nashville MMA, Nashville, Tennessee.
Our very own Justin Watson trudges into the deep end here in Smashville, taking on Pat Crumpton. Justin been out for 8 years, literally 8 years, and makes his return here. Got a good camp behind him at Hobbs Jackson Wink, though, with some really good talent there to push him. Guys like Josiah Newton, Chris Scarborough, Vincent Van Alstyne, Cody Noel, who we talked about earlier. Really, really good camp. We'll see if that amount of time off is a good thing as he takes on Pat Crumpton, who was just on the last underground card. Got a win in the first round over a UFC gym guy. Ben De Leon was his name. Crumpton's a grinder, man. Got that good motor. Kind of doesn't stop coming forward and just kind of drowns guys. Props to Justin for stepping into a very tough one in his pro debut. As Crumpton is going to have that hometown crowd behind him as well. We'll start off with Torres.
Yes, man. This is going to be a good one. I'm excited. Some of the guys at the gym was talking about this fight. Pat Crumpton known for just walking forward. That's just his style. But I'm excited to see Justin. This will be my first time ever seeing him fight. Justin himself. I know I've seen him in a jiu-jitsu tournament before, so I know he has some grappling background. Obviously he's been working at Jackson Hobbs and Wington. They're really good doing with their striking. So this should be a fun fight between these two guys. So I'm excited to see what Justin brings to the table. This is going to be a really good one, man. I'm excited.
Nate.
Man, I know Pat. I've trained with Pat. Pat's a friend of mine. I'm just going to go and say I'm going with Pat. And I'm not going to say anything about him because his opponent's right there and he's got to do his own research.
Jeff.
I'm excited because I am one of the guys that did not know Justin Watson in his previous life as a fighter. So this will be the first time. My only experience was when we fucking were able to talk him into Hydra Cup at the last minute and went and got him some basketball shorts. And pretty much feel like we set his ass up because what was it? He ended up being last and had old
Tank
on the other side of him. So I'm excited that won't be the lasting impression I have of Justin. Was putting the Dr. Pepper down and talking him into finding some shorts and going out on the combat jiu-jitsu mat or whatnot. So. Man, this will be fun, man. All props to Justin Watson for doing this, for taking it. I love these guys that come in. And his isn't quite the same as your typical bucket list, kind of guy, because Justin did compete, for a good while and routinely. But with that kind of time off, I do feel like this is definitely a bucket list of sorts on the pro side of it that Justin just did not want to fully hang up this sport without getting that professional fight under his belt. And hell, Justin, I think we'll try to put together your second one already if we can.
Do it.
For a couple months. So maybe we'll talk you into it a little more. But Jesus Christ, you didn't make it easy on yourself by choosing Pat Crompton. But I will say again, to give Justin Watson props, all the names he threw out that he would fight weren't going to be any better. Everybody he said he would fight was an experienced, tough ass fight for. We had a few guys that wanted opponents, didn't have opponents, and he was just like, "Give me one of them, give me any of them. I'll take whichever one you want to put me in there with. I just want to fight." So I think it couldn't have been a better situation for Justin Watson. He wanted to do this away from home, out of town, away from the pressure of being close to home and everybody. Go knock the rust off in another city, and then maybe do this again closer to home. So it'll be fun. It'll be exciting for me to see Justin compete, and I can't wait.
All right. Co-main
event. Next up, we have the co-main event. The Venom Assassin. This is a 155 co-main event. The Venom Assassin, Warren Smith, 7-11 out of Striker Fight Center, Atlanta, Georgia, taking on C4 Charlie Alexander, 7-3 out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Again, interviews with both these guys on the site. Go check them out before the fight. I would definitely suggest you do that. Warren Smith, a very experienced guy. I guess 19 pro fights coming out of the ATL. Used to train with Hard Knocks. I want to say with like Warren Thompson in the gang down there. Now training with Striker Fight Center. This will be his first fight with the camp at Striker Fight Center. Oddly enough, new teammate, the guy that recruited him over there, Jason Wolf, a former opponent of Charlie Alexander. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe he's got some insights. But they fought so long ago. Obviously everyone's developed a lot in that time, a whole lot. Warren's a guy that is he's been back and forth on the win and loss column. Let's be honest, but he has some wins that will turn your head. He's got a knockout win over Nasty Nate Williams, which is a quality win. So the potential is certainly there for him to turn the lights out on anyone. He's a very powerful man, very compact, very much like Charlie. So these guys in stature, we talked jokingly with Charlie, this will be the first time he can recall having a height advantage in a fight, which I'm sure he is welcoming. Charlie win over Logan Neal his last time out at Underground 1. And in the interview, if you go check it out, Charlie's, he's very adamant about having a good performance here. He wants to have an exciting performance. He wants to get a win. He wants to get a finish, as he knows some bigger things are right around the corner for him. So that said, the pressure's on Charlie here, dare I say still. This is his hometown. It's going to be his people. He's the one that's kind of got the looks right now. Warren Smith has nothing to lose here. So this is still a very intriguing fight in my eyes. We'll start with Nate this time.
Yeah, I trained with Charlie for a really long time. So I know Warren Smith a little bit. I know he's been around the game for a long time too as well. Tough veteran. But definitely going with Charlie. He's going to look to just, be clean, combo him up, and, he can finish him on the feet or on the ground. And like you said, Warren, he's been around the block. He's no slouch. He's got the power. He could catch Charlie if Charlie gets careless. But Nashville all the way.
Jeff Hobbs.
Looking at this fight, the things I want people to understand. Yes, Warren Smith has an upside-down record. But Warren Smith has the same number of wins as Charlie does. He's just been in there a lot more times than Charlie has, which means he just had a lot more opportunities to come out on the other side of a card than Charlie has. But he has 7 professional wins just like Charlie does. And there is definite danger in this fight, and I think Charlie knows it. Charlie's been very focused on this fight, not focused on social media, not focused on creating trash talk or anything like that. And I think he's been very focused for a reason. And what I want to go back to is Jordan Weeks. It very much rings in my head a lot that Charlie was on a nice roll early on in his pro career, had some nice wins in early on in his pro career, and he took a fight that very much he wanted, was acceptable to him, and on paper to a lot of people looked like probably a very easy win for Charlie.
The 155 Nate Lindsay, if you will.
Yes, and history shows. Look at his record. It didn't work out that night. And I don't know. I don't want to speak for Charlie to say that maybe he overlooked weeks. Maybe he fought down to competition. He was slipping, left himself open in areas that he thought he could get away with. But that just shows you that shit like that happens. And so don't get it twisted that this is not a dangerous fight and shit can happen the same way that it did that night. But what I think is how focused Charlie is that he remembers that as well, and that he's not going to let that happen again. So he's not going to be dumb enough to be blinded by a 7-11 record and all those losses. He's been there. He's experienced how easily you can let something slip away and derail you, and then you have to fight twice as hard to make up that win. So that still worries me because, like you said, the guy has lost a submission match to Jason Wolf, but then he's turned right around and knocked out Nate Williams out cold, who we just saw fight on PFL, and we all know is a very decorated guy in our whole Southeast region. So the ability's there to do it, and he can do it to anybody if he touches them. So Charlie's got to fight smart. I know he wants the finish because he wants people to see it, and maybe a finish help excel him along or get him the looks that he's looking for. But Charlie needs the win. The win's, like Tim, I think you told me, the win's more important than the finish at the end of the day. And I hope he keeps that in his head and doesn't make a mistake, because Warren Smith is very heavy-handed. So this is not the match that people probably would look at these records and think that it is. It's a very, very dangerous match for Charlie.
Torres, definitely interested to hear your take.
Yeah, man. Seeing this fight, obviously Charlie Alexander, his last fight, fought one of my teammates, Logan Neal, and I do believe that Charlie in his last fight, it was not satisfied with his performance. He felt like he left some things out there on the table, I believe. So you're right. He is probably coming into this fight trying to get the finish, trying to put on a better performance, as I do believe he will. But you just previously, like Jeff just stated, the win is more is better to get than you're looking for a dominant finish. Obviously, everybody wants to finish. Obviously, everybody wants to knock out. But Charlie must be careful, because I've seen Warren Smith fight before, and I did not know that he knocked out Nasty Nate, and that's a really good point. Heck, Nasty Nate ain't no joke, man. He's tough. He's really tough around here in the Southeast, and I feel like Warren Smith can land that punch. So it's going to be interesting. I want to see if Charlie going to take that ground game, take it towards Warren. Obviously, Warren Smith has some jiu-jitsu experience, doing a few grappling matches himself. So I don't know Warren's actual what is he as a
blue belt.
Blue belt. Okay, yeah. So that'd be really interesting to see the wrestling of Charlie going against that in that aspect of a grappling. But I feel like this is going to be a fun fight, man. It could be one of those fights that end early for either side. So I think these guys will come out blazing hard. I'm excited.
All right, the main event, flyweights, 125 pounds. Dylan Tolbert, 6-7 out of Phoenix MMA in Jefferson City, Montana, taking on Dustin Ortiz, 19-9, wherever.
Missouri.
Taking on Dustin Ortiz, 19-9 out of Evolution Fight Team in Franklin, Tennessee. It's late, boys.
Special guest host Greg Hopkins up here.
It's late, boys.
Today.
Top level, Jim.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this. It's an honor to host Dustin Ortiz on this card, honestly, and this has been one of my toughest matchmaking chores I've had. So Jeff Hobbs just did it for me. That's always nice. Thanks, partner. But it was one of those fights where not a lot of guys are going to want to see this for what it is, and Dylan Tolbert did see it for what it is, and it is a big opportunity, honestly. To have the opportunity to knock off a guy with the stature and the notoriety of a Dustin Ortiz, he has nothing to lose here. A win for him absolutely makes his career. And he saw it. He saw that for what it is. And this is a kid that has been very battle tested already over on the Midwest scene with Shamrock. There's all kinds of good competition coming out of that circuit. So I expect him to be very well prepared for what he is proclaimed is the fight of his life. This is the biggest opportunity of his life. It truly is. Dustin Ortiz, hometown boy returns out of Franklin, Tennessee. One of the first guys from the area to make it up there to the big leagues, man. And he lasted on the big leagues for a really long time. One of the best UFC flyweights in history, literally. 19-9 coming into this fight. There's got to be a little pressure on Dustin Ortiz here. He's fighting an opponent with absolutely nothing to lose. If there's anybody with anything to lose here, it's Dustin Ortiz returning home. And with all the expectations, I'm sure to go out here and dominate this fight. I'm very interested to see how it goes down. We've got flyweights, don't see finishes as often, so I'm curious if we're going to get, a high-paced battle, that stretches out over a few rounds. If Ortiz's class just shows very early or not, or if Tolbert's able to hang that right there with him, if he just that's his night and he seizes the moment. So very interested in this one for sure. Torres, I'm gonna let you lead.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited for this fight, man. Get a chance to see a guy like Dustin Ortiz, UFC level experience, man. He's been on the biggest stage. I mean, I've looked at him, man. I've seen, he is 19-9. You look at those 9 losses, 8 of them was by decision. One came by his only finished loss came to the now flyweight world champion Brandon Moreno. So this man is as tough as they come. He has like half his 8 decisions, like split decisions. So they're like, this man is amongst the best of the best. Dustin Ortiz, I am really excited to get this opportunity and see this type of this guy fight on the level, especially at Valor Underground. Being a local guy, man, he's one of the best. And like you said, his opponent, look, he ain't got nothing to lose. Like, it would make his career to be able to beat a guy that's been on the biggest stage, been a part of some big time fights, fought Joseph Benavidez, Brandon Moreno, fight those type of guys, man. You just can only look. You can just take your best shot and say, hey, look, if I beat him, look, my career is made. So I think this is like one of those trap fights. We talk about that in football, one of those trap games. It's one of those trap fights for Dustin Ortiz, and I think he'll get this opportunity in front of his home to be able to show that he will not area.
Nate.
Yeah. So Dustin, I've trained with Dustin a little bit. We train together sometimes. And obviously, like y'all said, he's fought only the best. He's been in UFC for a long time. He's only lost to the best in the world. And they were close competitive fights. He's got wins over the best in the world. I don't know much about his opponent, but like you were saying, this is a nothing to lose fight for him if he gets in there, and he's got to make something happen quick because Dustin's got cardio for days, and he's like the Terminator. You're going to have to kill that dude. He's not going to tap or, so obviously going with Ortiz, I think he gets it done and shows, his skill, but fight to fight, anything could happen.
What's your take on how deep this goes?
Man, honestly, I think it could end maybe in the first round, maybe in the second round. But, I think Dustin's going to put him away.
Jeff Hobbs, wrap us up. This will be our final take.
Yes, sir. I think one interesting aspect that people just don't realize because they see Dustin Ortiz on a regional show, usually, in this industry, when you see a former UFC guy back on local cards, it's because they have, reached the end of their career, fallen off quite a bit. I hate the fact that we're saying UFC vet or former UFC fighter because for all intent purposes, we should be arguing the fact that he should still be in the UFC. Wow. He was let go with a winning record. And I think the only reason why he was let go was at that time, the uncertainty of the division. He was just coming off of, a loss to Joseph Benavidez, but he had won his fight before that. It's like
There's a gang of UFC flyweights that he runs through right now.
Yes, absolutely. Still, I think it was a horrible situation of circumstance that had him released. I mean, a lot of guys make it to the UFC, they don't stick around. That guy was there for almost 8 years, and at the time of his release, not many of those flyweights that he had fought had winning records. He had a winning record in the UFC, so Dustin Ortiz should still be there. He goes over to Brave, and yes, he loses a fight over there, but he's fighting the best in Brave at that time as well. And he's still, and one story too that we got to tell, he is still signed to Brave. I thought he had gotten out of his contract for this fight. He was allowed a one-off. He was given a one-off. So he is still a signed fighter for that organization. He was just allowed a one-off to come fight for us, which is even cooler, that they're letting them come do this for us. So don't get it twisted for the fans at home thinking, well, I'm going to go see an old UFC fighter. This guy should still be in the UFC. So you are getting to watch a UFC fighter fight that up close. What I loved about Tolbert when we were in our search, like you said, it was hard to find people because either A, they didn't want to fight Dustin Ortiz, or B, they wanted to fight Dustin Ortiz, but they didn't understand the situation. They wanted to fight Dustin Ortiz for UFC money,
right?
And that's just not the situation here.
No regional show can pay the amounts of money that other
right. Absolutely. So I don't want to slight those people that maybe we had reached out to about fighting Dustin that did accept. So I don't want to tell the story that everyone was turning it down. A few people did accept the fight, but they weren't rational about how a regional show is going to be able to put this fight on. And we're only able to put this fight on because Dustin wanted to fight in front of his friends and family so bad that he was willing to take an extreme pay cut to do so as a gift to those friends and family at home. But that kind of fund and money is just not there to put on a $10,000 fight, a 10-10 fight on the regional level. But I found Tolbert, just again online search, and just going down the rabbit hole. And what stood out to me is he had posted up some pictures of his last fight, which he lost, but he lost it because of a doctor stoppage, because he was busted up pretty bad, but he did not quit. He didn't want to quit the fight. He was a scrapper, and he was in there. And he wanted to continue the fight, no matter how much blood was coming out of his face. He wanted to continue the fight. And when I looked at his post, I knew this was the guy because he said, I lost, but I love this shit, and I'll do it again. He said, I don't care how bad I got busted up, how bad I got beat. I love this fight shit, and I want back in right now. Let's do it again. Someone else bust me up. And I loved it. I love that attitude that the loss didn't hurt him. The competitiveness, the thrill of going through the process, the thrill of getting punched in the face. He loved it. And I could tell he lived for the shit. And I knew when I reached out for him, if he was available and healthy, that he was the guy that was going to take this fight because he would see the opportunity that's there. You look at his Facebook post, he's made no, qualms about it. Yeah, on paper, I'm not supposed to win this fight. He says, but by God, when am I ever going to say, that I stepped in the cage with a world-class athlete? And he will be the first to list off Dustin Ortiz's accomplishments. Fastest knockout in flyweight history that still stands, the length of time. He understands the opportunity that's in front of him and what it could mean for his career to pull off the upset and win this fight. And that makes him a dangerous man as well. I think Dustin is going to have to put it on him, to win this fight, because I think he's going to take a beating and keep on coming. He'll be like the Energizer Bunny. You're going to have to put him away or have a doctor stop it, because he's not going to quit. He's not going to stop fighting, and he's not going to just bow down because it's Dustin Ortiz. He's going to give it everything he's got. That makes this exciting. I'm glad Dustin is getting to fulfill his wishes, and that's fighting his home crowd. And he's fought in Nashville before for the UFC, but like he told us in the interview, you know what, with the UFC, I got to go back to the locker room. I don't get to shake hands. I don't get to hug my family. I don't get to hug my friends. He said, I get to walk out of the cage and walk right in the crowd, and I get to hang out all night with them. So this was important to him. I'm just glad this was able to come together. And this type of matchup will only further what Taylor is doing with this, this promotion. And I think this sets us up for even better fights, better fighters from around the country wanting to come in and do this with us later.
All right, that is Underground 2. We've ran it down, guys. All the fights, we've ran through them all, and I think we did it in a fairly concise time here.
Yep.
Once again, it goes down this Saturday night, November the 20th, from the Nashville Fairgrounds Arena, the newly renovated and revamped Nashville Fairgrounds Arena. Beautiful facility now, I must say. Get your tickets at fighterticksthenext.com. Select your favorite fighter from the drop-down menu so they get credit. You can watch the pay-per-view combatcast.tv and listen to the sweet sounds of Torres Finney on the call. Me and Hobbs will be there running our asses off. And Nate, you're going to be out of town, unfortunately, but hopefully you're following along on pay-per-view. Jeff, we need to get Nate a code so we're sitting in with us tonight so we can follow along on this one. Justin, you'll be in the cage either whipping ass or getting your ass whipped, one. And, that'll be cool. And Nate, I'm going to let you go ahead and get out of here before we wrap this thing up. I appreciate you sitting in with us. Hopefully, we get to see you in a cage again soon. Maybe that air cage calling your name or that underground cage.
Hey, yeah, I'll be in the cage real soon. I still got a lot of fighting left to do. So, but thanks for having me, guys, and have a good show.
Awesome,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna call it a very short wrap up on UFC talk since we ran pretty long on that preview, guys. Quick recap, oh so quick. Last week I take my first loss and now I drop to 4-1. Still up 0.92 units as Arsene Yadong did not quite get past 1.5. I was short by a couple minutes there. Greg hits his parlay on Max Holloway and Sean Woodson minus 215, wins 0.47 units. Now he's 4-1 and up, a leading 2.62 units. Justin had Ben Rothwell inside the distance. I love that pick and bet pretty hard on it, and we all lost as he just got mollywopped out there himself and lost a unit for Justin, now 3-2, down. Now that he's down 0.27 units. Torres with Thiago Moises minus 265. He got murked. Now Torres is the unit 1-3 now, down what would you say, a league low negative 2.34 units as Jeff Hobbs hits the biggest play since we've actually been before, gets his first win on a parlay. The first half was my leg as well. Courtney Casey and Jojua over 1.5, along with Felicia Spencer inside the distance. She just fucking barely got it done for you, but she did.
Yeah.
Plus 260, wins 2.6 units, now 1-4, but only down 1.4 units as he leapfrogs Torres. Let's quickly go into, man, this card sucks. Let's face it. We've got Nashville Underground. We got Nashville Underground going on. That's got our attention Saturday, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on this shit card. Justin, what's your lock?
Yeah, man, I'm just going to take Misha Tate inside the distance. I got a little bit of room to make up.
What's that number, please? I don't have it in front of me.
Let me
plus 105.
Plus 105, even money more or less on Misha Tate inside the distance for Justin. Torres, what you got?
I got Terrence McKinney in this one. I think Terrence McKinney. I think he finished this inside of the halfway mark at least. So what's the halfway mark between the second round and the first round? The halfway mark between the second round.
Oh, you're saying under 1.5.
1.5, under 1.5. Yes.
Anybody got a line on that, Justin or Jeff, real quick?
What did he say?
1.5, Terrence McKinney.
Terrence McKinney, 1.5.
Yeah, I don't have that on the over and under.
I can tell you fairly quick something that's going to be close. You're going to have to make it. I don't think you can do both. You could say Terrence McKinney inside the distance.
Okay,
that's going to be our best way to go. Terrence McKinney by finish is going to be plus 120. So plus 120 on Terrence McKinney by finish for Torres. Jeff, what do you got this week?
I got ground to make, man, and I don't give a shit. So I'm taking a simple parlay with Talia Santos for the win and Adrian Yanez for the win. Parlay in both of those two, just money line wins.
And what does that come back? Do you know already?
I don't know combined what it is. Santos is minus 370. Yanez is minus 315.
Santos and Yanez together. I actually do like that quite a bit. Okay, so you're going to put a 350 together with a, what'd you say, 315?
370 and 315.
Okay. Minus 140.
There you go.
Minus 140. I like that. That seems fairly safe. For Greg Hopkins reporting in from offsite tonight as he's out there working. He has got a little parlay. The Terrence McKinney and Frost Ziam not to go the distance. Minus 280. Any finish will do. Along with Luana Pinheiro and Sam Hughes not to go the distance. That's minus 115 parlay together. Plus 153. Greg's taking a stab at that plus money today. And for myself, I'm going to play it pretty safe because I want to have that 1 unit cushion. So I need to get over the hump, and I'm at 0.92. So I'm going to play it very safe, and I am going to go only with Tyler Santos here, and I'm going to take her at this minus 370. So I'll win like 0.33, but I'll get over the 1 mark. There it is, folks. We're gonna wrap this thing up, guys. We've got Underground 2 this weekend. Please tune in. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this video. Tell your friends to subscribe to this video. Jeff, we got 5 videos from Aries 2 lined up, ready to go.
We got them ready to release.
Would help us.
Show us you want them. Show us you
want
them.
Exactly. We got them ready to go, and then we'll have Aries 1 ready now. Hell, I guess within about 2 more weeks, we'll be ready to drop Aries 1 out there. So that's what to look forward to. Check out the interviews on the channel with the guys that are involved in Underground 2 before the show this weekend. It's always nice to kind of get. It's always kind of nice to be able to get some insight into these guys before you see them fight. So check those interviews out. Follow our social media on Facebook, on Instagram, Aries Fight Series. Guys, we'll do this shit again next week. For Justin Watson, Jeff Hobbs, Torres, the Punisher Finney. I'm Tim Loy signing out for another edition of the 0 Hour. We will see y'all next week.
Boo boo.